I don't want to be too late for you. I am thrilled for the crowd, and you're going to be, I'm not sure enthralled is the right word, but it's an amazing story. Last night I had the privilege to attend Paige and Charles's presentation at the Highland County Historical Society. Paige is not only the secretary,
Correct.
and she is a major partner in communicating the amazing history of the Gist settlement. Paige and Chuck, he's my new best
He's
friend.
hiding back here.
He's my new best friend.
All right, Chuck.
Last night, meet Chuck.
Chuck, I know Chuck.
Paige and Chuck are two of the 11 members of the Legacy Board who are providing the structure for preservation of the site, and you will find out more about that. If you're here tonight and have little knowledge, you will learn history that we may not know, or you may not have known about. Or if you're familiar with it, you're still gonna find out some neat things, because I did, and I have learned a lot in 2 years. If you're familiar with the settlement, you know you probably have an ancestor, or we all know ancestors. Once you hear these names, we all know the ancestors that live right here in Wilmington. I taught for 30 years, and I had some of them. I watched them play basketball, I watched them play football, and I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know the story. So it's an amazing story. The Gist settlement, although in Highland County, it sits right outside of Louisiana. In fact, I think it's a Louisiana address. Most of us here tonight know the ancestors, and Paige will want you to know that tonight is her second time of doing the presentation. Last night was her debut.
And I got good grades, so I'm hoping you guys will grade me really well too.
She knows her stuff, I can tell you that. And she knows the history, but this is the first time she's offered to do these presentations. We will give you slack, because you know how difficult it is. The PowerPoint is great, and I found out last night she was working with a PDF. She actually has the PowerPoint now. So I would like for you to meet Paige, and as of last night I said, my best friend, Chuck.
All right.
And one of the first things I would like to be able to say is one of our other directors is right here also, and that's Jeff Rollins.
All right. Mr. Rollins.
Recently, we did go ahead and redo our documents. We have now become an 11-director board that are lifetime positions. There's only 3 ways to get off of our board.
Oh, boy.
You could get ill and not be able to hold the seat anymore, or you could really have a reason why you wanted to leave. We did that so that we always had an odd number, hopefully, and because being on a board like this, many of us live out of state, So it allows us to have some leeway if we can't make every Zoom meeting. Or like now, being in the same state, we can actually get many of us together face to face. So GIST settlement. It is my favorite subject. And I like to talk, so that goes well together.
She doesn't need a microphone, I asked.
So GIST settlement is, of course, named after Samuel Gist. He was a young man that was born in England in 1723. He was orphaned at the age of 10. His mother died at the age of 7. He was orphaned at the age of 10. His father dropped him off at a local hospital, which took care of orphans, thank you. Yeah. Which is Queen Elizabeth's Hospital School. He left there in 1739, having an apprenticeship, and went to the United States. Being an apprentice, during that time, you were legally bound that you could not leave the property or leave the entire thing. You had to obey your master, and you were not allowed to marry during the time of your apprenticeship. So he's been sent to Virginia. He's now an apprentice. He is working for a man named John Smith. He's taking care of his storefront. John Smith has a store. He is a merchant. He's shipping things from overseas and back. And he is also a plantation owner. He's an indentured servant. He's basically a white slave. He married John Smith's wife after she died, after he died. So he immediately inherited the plantations, the slaves, the store, the merchant business. It all became his. His wife died before he left for England. The original plan was that they were both gonna go back together. But she passed away first. He did go ahead and go back to England and never came back. He has a 20-page will, and they did several changes on it throughout the time before he actually did pass away. He wanted to make sure that the people that were slaves on his plantations became free people. His original intentions was for them to stay on the plantation in Virginia. Intended them to be emancipated slaves and remain as paid laborers, but Virginia law very quickly said, you're not gonna let 350 slaves go and make them all independent people and keep them here in Virginia. So they did approve 350 certificates to free people under the condition they left Virginia. So they had to go ahead and, instead of keeping the plantations, which his daughter was very upset about because she was living on one of them, they went ahead and sold everything, put it all into trusts, and started to figure out where they were going to move people. Ohio was already a free state for slaves, emancipated. So they had to go ahead and arrange transportation for a large group of people. The first purchases was 2,200 acres, and that was in primarily Brown County. I don't believe it was Erie then. I think it was pretty much Brown. But unfortunately, when they did, they picked a lot of property that was swampland. And there is a book that is actually about the company that Samuel Gist and his son were a part of, the Dismal Swamp. They bought property, they filled the land so that it was wet but not a swamp. They left the trees, then the thick bush, and they brought everybody and dropped them on it. It's kinda hard when you don't know how to do these things, when you're left to go ahead and figure out how to do these things. They went ahead and purchased, because of the wet and a lot of the people that were at Brown County had to choose. They could stay there, they were having difficulty finding work, building homes and whatnot. They would go to the city to find work. Then for what reason could they make the time in order to go back out to the settlement in order to build or anything? So a lot of them went ahead and left their property that was there. Some were able to get deeds. That was a fight for Brown County also. They got their deeds, and instead of coming back and working the land, they sold it. Because again, their job was in the city. So they bought the first 100 acres in 1831 in Highland County. It was 5 years, 1835, when they went ahead and they bought another 107 acres. So altogether, 207 acres, and they brought about 150 new residents to start out on this property. They had a section that was set aside for a school. There was a section that was set aside for cemetery, and the rest was divided up so that everybody had a piece of land that they could go ahead and build a home, do what they wanted, possibly farming, whatnot, but a lot of the people in the area would come onto the plantation, onto the settlement, and ask people to come and help, so they would hire them as workers. And they would come in and pick them up and take them to someplace else, and then they'd bring them back at the end of the day. Many of them could not read or write, which made it difficult when they were trying to learn how to take care of their land. Paying taxes, building homes, reading books. These are all things that they really did not have an understanding of. Some of the families lost their homes because of unpaid taxes. And they did not actually settle as far as deeds on land until the 20th century. See, I'm not reading it so much, I'm reading this one today. Paul Turner returned home after serving 26 years in the Navy. He retired as a Master Chief Petty Officer, which was the highest rank that a petty officer? Enlisted man. See, I'm married to one, I still don't. That was the highest position that anyone could have that was an enlisted man. He saved his family land from foreclosure in 1987 by paying over $28,000 in taxes. Nobody knew, nobody understood. The money that was supposed to be there from the trusts ran out. Whether it was taken and somebody else spent it, or it was actually used, that's all in the past. We can't play around in that, but it was left that they needed to go ahead and pay them, and they didn't, and Paul jumped in and did. He spent all the years farming about 100 of the acres on his settlement. He worked for years to uncover the missing trust records, tried to resolve the land titles. He continued to maintain the cemetery and around the church. And he continued to pay the church electric bill. That was paid by Paul until he passed, then his estate paid for it. And when we took over, we stopped paying it. We should have kept paying it, but it didn't seem to make a lot of sense that there was holes in the roof and everything. It was not beneficial. He also, as we found out recently, quietly went down to the utility office with a list and asked if these people were paid up to date on their water bills. And if they weren't, he paid them. We're always finding out new things. So by 2005, there was only three families remaining on the settlement. Paul continued caring for the church and the cemetery. He received the deeds to 16 lots in 2015. He founded Gist Settlement Rollins Turner Legacy in 2016. He passed away in November of 2019. His legacy was that we preserve and protect the history of Gist Settlement. We represent the descendants' families connected to the settlement, and we continue to try and work his vision and legacy. We're preserving the historic land and structures. We try to protect the family history and traditions, and we are promoting education and community engagement. Why I'm here. It's Munster. This is a picture of the property, of all pieces of property. So everything that is in this brown shade, Gist Settlement Rollins Turner Legacy owns. It cannot be sold. It cannot be divided. In his will and in setting up the nonprofit, it explicitly says if we for some reason cannot continue, we need to donate it to another 501c3 that has historic background. Nobody's ever gonna be able to build that housing development out there. It's gonna remain farmland. So this one piece here was lost many years ago, many years ago. These pieces here are owned by, I just blanked out on the name, Robinsons, the Robinsons.
And Peacock.
And then this section here is the Peacocks. They still live on the properties there. Then we have the Rankin family, and we have a Turner family that own bits and pieces that are up there. Did you have a question? This map here shows we are all of the yellow sections. You can see that a lot of it is open for farmland. We have a farming contract with a local farmer. He goes ahead and farms it. He gives us something twice a year. We're very thankful that we have this arrangement. Paul's house is right in here. There is a house there. There is a pole barn, which we've tried to secure. We've gone ahead and we have worked on the doors, the floor, and the big doors for the garage, so that we might be able to have a place that is actually lockable in order to store things if we're able to move forward with certain plans. This piece here, at the moment, it's landlocked. It is ours. We are just letting that ride. This piece here is being farmed. Every year, we're having a family reunion, also volunteer appreciation. We have just had our second one. Our first one, we had 250 people show up. We were really, really happy with that. Our second one, we had about 120, 150 people show up. Yeah, and we have board members that are sitting here. We're gonna do it every year, no matter what. We have 11 directors, somebody's gonna be available to do it. We just wanna keep on carrying that on. We can keep showing people, you're not a relative, but you wanna know more about the history, what it is we've been doing on the property. This is the day that it's open for everybody to be able to come out. Like I said, we have gone ahead and we started to work on the pole barn. We have removed the barn that was sitting over there. It was dangerous. We were afraid that we cannot block the property off so people can still come up when they want. So we weren't able to guard that from somebody stupidly going in there and having it fall down on them. So we went ahead and we had that removed. We've had this secured for the most part. We're still working on some of it, and we have Paul's house. For some of you, you know that on the couple weekends ago, we had a cauldron memorialization in Highland County, in Hillsborough. This picture here still has the cauldron in the front yard. It's now in Hillsborough. This year, what we're trying to do is we're trying to clear the debris from the main house. We would like to repair the roof. I don't think that's gonna happen as fast as we wanted to. Expose the cabin structure. We have done that. We have removed the paneling on the first floor on the side of the house that is, wait, there we go. This side of the house, it contains an old two-story cabin, what remains of it. That dates back into the 1850, 1860. We know one board, somebody did go ahead and tell us it was 1880, 1890. This new section was built in the 1950s, 1970s. This is actually, majority of the bottom part is block. This spot right in the middle of the first and second floor, the old and the new, is where this beam sits. That is the main piece that is in there that we would like to make sure to preserve. Whether or not we keep the house, we're still working on. You can see the axe marks that are on part of the beam that's there. We did find on some of the walls that it was the older wood, and they have attached newer going above it in order to support it. When we opened up the ceiling area in the old part, you can look up and you can see the older wood for the floor, and you can see the beams that go through there, but they are being re-supported by newer wood. We do have an architect scheduled to come in the beginning of July, and we are going to go ahead and discuss the possibilities of what we could do with the house, or if we should remove the house and maybe keep the beam. Anything that was down around the bottom, there is a partial beam that is down at the door jamb, but it's like they left it so that when they poured the concrete inside, it kept a frame, so it's been pretty well beat up. And you can see that on the bottom on the side of the house also. So we're hoping that we can find something that we can do with it, but it has taken a lot of abuse. There's several holes already in the roof. Those are coming in on the newer side of the house. There's debris that's been left in there that still needs to be cleaned out, but we're trying to see what we can do with it during this trip that we're here. The church and the cemetery. They remain important parts of the settlement's history and legacy. Paul cared for the church and the cemetery for many years, including maintaining the property and keeping the electricity on until his passing, when the estate continued covering the costs. Church ownership still remains unresolved. We have found, we've been working up a list for the cemetery. We can identify approximately 145 people that are in there, and we have approximately 17 of them that are veterans. Unfortunately, we tried to go ahead and request through the court system to get the church and the cemetery, and we were told that we could not, that we have not been taking care of it for 21 years. Well, the nonprofit hasn't been in business for 21 years. However, relatives of the people in that cemetery have been taking care of that cemetery forever.
That's right.
And it's just recently, they did go ahead, the trustees did go ahead and tell them that they needed to have a certain insurance, and because they didn't have that insurance, they gave the contract to someone else. So they're no longer cutting the grass in the cemetery, but nobody but relatives have cut it around the church. We had a meeting with the trustees. They're very nice gentlemen. They said, the church? We don't take care of the church. We just cut the cemetery. So, in saying that we haven't done anything for 21 years, somebody please tell me why everybody that cuts the grass is a relative. And they're not getting paid for cutting that. And also with the cemetery, we would have, Paul accepted money from the trustees because he was cutting the grass. But we know he was cutting the grass because he wanted to cut the church grass. He wanted to be the one that was cutting it because it was family that was in there. But that presents a gray area because he did accept payment for it. Who wouldn't? Do something because you want to, and somebody wants to pay you for it, you would. This is the present look of the church. There is a hole in the roof back over here. The top peak, there is a hole that's up in there, and this is the back side where it's rolled up. We would like more than anything to be able to take responsibility for it. 2 years ago, we were told about a grant that is specifically for Black historical churches. They only accept applications one time a year, and that is until February, and you don't get any money until the following year. So you have to show ownership. We cannot go ahead and move forward with any of that at this time. I had a conversation with the prosecutor before we ever went ahead and filed in court to request to have the property. And she had told me that they had a committee that had located all of the inactive churches in the area, and that ours was on the list. And that they were going to try to make them taxable again, and then sell them in tax sale. So we went ahead, having heard this, we went ahead and we filed in the court system. Nobody replied to try and step in our way. Everything was clear except that the prosecutor wanted to keep it, saying that we didn't take care of it, that the trustees were the ones taking care of it. The trustees were very willing to let it go. They've been very cooperative, helpful at times when it comes to taking care of the roads that are out there. So at this point, we can't touch it. And we are just trying to see if we can find out exactly why she feels that we shouldn't be able to take it. We're trying to take some weight off of them. They wouldn't have to worry about paying for somebody to cut the grass. I don't understand how they can say it's theirs and they don't want to touch it and fix it. But that's the position we are in with the church. We don't want to fight. We just want to be able to take care of it. What we'd like to do is we'd like to go ahead and fix it up and then invite another church group to come in and start having services there, and we would continue to take care of the building. Oh, that's the end of my slides. The cemetery, there's several places in it where you can't see any headstones on it, and that's because they're the older people that didn't have headstones, or they may have had a wooden one that deteriorated through years. We have been going in little by little and trying to clean some of those and be able to read them better, and that's part of how we're coming up with the list, which, by the way, the trustees have no idea who's in there. The group, the Washington courthouse and archaeologists that came through back in 2006 through 2011, I think it was. They did an extensive job looking at it, and they did some sonar out there, and they left markings for where they felt that there was definitely a soul in there and where they thought there might be a soul in there. So we worked with that and their list, and some other wonderful online groups like Find a Grave. And we're trying to go ahead and put together a good list. Just because we find a name listed somewhere, we don't add it as a person being there. We go ahead and we actually search out to find that there is an obituary, or there is a death certificate, or there is something that would definitely tell us that the family put somebody in that cemetery. So we're trying to be very careful about the list that we're putting together. Part of the work that they did when they came out there for all of those years is they dug. They dug around in one of the areas that has been named the hayfield, and I did not include the picture. Oh. Picture here. They found what they thought were locations where there were cabins through the years. So these squares were an aerial shot where they would say that there were cabins there. So we kind of think there might have been up to 35 cabins out there at one time. We don't have any real proof of that, but we're gonna keep looking. But they did, and they went around these different areas and they went ahead and they dug in certain squares. They learned how to do these things. It was more than one class. They took years of doing it, and they have approximately 1,000 to 2,000 pieces of things that are being stored at the Ohio Valley Archaeological. Now, we are hoping to be able to take those items. We can go ahead. There's really not a whole anything. I believe there is a pocket watch, and there was one other thing, a button. Everything else is just like a piece of or a shard of. Some of it dates back into the 1800s, and some of it is in the 20th century. But they're holding all of those for us. We want to try and get a building set up where we would be able to keep it climate controlled, so we would be able to show people some of this stuff. We want to be able to share our history with others. Does anyone have any questions that I could answer?
I went to New Vienna High School, and one of my classmates lived in the Gist settlement, and I was hoping she would be here. And her name was Phyllis Gist, and I was surprised that, her name was Gist. But anyway, I remember in the first grade, about 1950, 51, there was a fire there. And do you have any history of the fire about that?
When? Where?
51, in the 50s.
51?
Was it, that wasn't
I don't know if that was
Tom's?
my grandmother's
Oh, wait a minute.
house. So Tom's fire was in the 60s, where the kids
So
were
one of the
killed.
things that I have is every newspaper article that I could find. I have a book here that everybody could go ahead and take a look in. We might be able to figure it out by looking in that. Now, in the 50s, the church was destroyed, but that was by a storm.
Okay.
But now the house that my grandmother had was a cabin that burnt down, and Phyllis remembers it. And that's where the cinder block house came after it.
So that could possibly be it. You're welcome to look through here. We do know of some fires, but not specifically the one that you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll have to check it
Um,
out.
Yeah, there were a few fires that were out there, one that caused the death of 4 children at one time. There's been accidents out there.
And I just wondered how much was natural and how much was not natural.
We don't think there was any, we don't have any signs that there was any arson type of stuff that went on out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some little things, but not something as large as a house where it might endanger people.
Yeah.
We did have somebody get hit by a train. The train tracks are right near there. Staggering home. I have books up here. You are all welcome to go ahead and look at them. There's some of the tools that we use when we're looking at things. There's some that are just interesting, that we were able to find. There are 2 books that are up here that I actually have copies here if somebody wanted to go ahead and buy them. The Promised Land, which is by Paula Wright. I have a handful of copies of that. That's $15. And then we have The Unknown American Exodus, which is written by by Natalie Amato. She is also another one of our directors. I really recommend this book. She is working with us now. She has, because she came on board with us, we went ahead and we got an Ancestry account. And I'm getting a notification every day about 100 new things that have been added to it. So she's having a lot of fun working on that. What we're aiming at is all of the names that are on the list, the board, the historical board down there. She's using that list to start, and she's going ahead and trying to get the lineages for them. And it's leading into some of the ones that are around now. So if you feel that you are related, or you have a friend or somebody that feels that they're related, please reach out to us. We would love to be able to help you to find more information and even possibly learn more through you. If there's no other questions.
I'm a little confused about the territorial jurisdiction, because when you talked about a prosecutor, you said she, so that suggests Highland County?
Yeah, we were told that she's the prosecutor of Penn Township. Her name is Anika, I think. Yes. Yeah, so
She's the county prosecutor.
So some of the property, but is any of the settlement in Clinton County?
no.
Okay, it's all Highland County.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it's classified as New Vienna. The address for all of them is New Vienna.
But New Vienna, it's right,
Yeah. Yeah. Two of the roads that are in there, the one that goes up to the front of Paul's house and the one that goes off into the fields, those are maintained by the township. So we cannot gate them, so we cannot stop people from coming in and doing any kind of destruction or anything. We've had people come up that are shooting and donuts in the grass, and we're sitting there looking on the camera. We see them, but we can't stop them. We do have a director now, Glenn Peacock, so he is right across the field. If he hears something, he goes up. Robinson, he will also come up if he hears something that's going on, but every piece of property there now has a deed, but I don't think anybody realized that at that time when they were doing that somebody needed to say something about the church and the cemetery. There is no actual deed, but when the property was bought in 1831, where the church and the cemetery was bought by them. And when it was divided, it was part of it. So, yeah, that's the question mark we have.
I was getting lost between your legacy directors or board and trustees. Were you referring to the township trustees?
Yes.
That did the mowing? Okay.
Well,
But
they
will
didn't
not
do,
ta-
they
will not take care of the church?
they hired somebody to do the mowing,
Sure,
yes.
but that was from the township trustees.
Yes.
I don't know if you said this in the presentation, but do you know an approximation of how many descendants like you've accounted for today?
The people that were on the property, or just?
Like the genealogy, like connections, I mean, 100, 300, thousands?
I would say she could be close to 800 to 1,000, if not over that. I actually try not to keep an eye on her. I keep getting the notices, and that's enough. I don't bother her. We're so happy to have her. She is so enthused about it. So she's our ancestry go-getter, and I try to be the one. And my title actually is secretary and treasurer. I do have assistant secretary and treasurer, and the only reason that I have taken both positions at this time is because I'm retired. They are young, and they are still full of family and full-time jobs. They do take care of jobs for us, but we try to make sure that they're able to do the things that they're still young enough to do, and they're still learning how to take over when I go ahead and decide to step out. But I'm getting in deeper. Thank you, everyone, for having us out. Oh, you have? Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I want to know who did Mr. Guest leave? Who did he leave the property?
He left, what, our property?
I don't know, I keep
Okay,
trying to figure out
so-
what you're saying when you say that.
Okay, so when Samuel Gist passed away, he left all of his plantations and all of the fundamental stuff in the United States
Okay.
to the slaves.
Yes.
Okay.
But his daughter at the time lived there and was to take care of one of the plantations, lived there and take care of it. But when Virginia put a bit of a stopping sign there and said that they could free them, but they couldn't all stay in Virginia, it meant they had to sell it.
Virginia changed.
The law in Virginia changed.
The law in Virginia said if they were freed, they had a certain amount of time to leave.
Because there were so many, they were trying to free
Yes, that was-
350 at one
that was the law in
time.
Virginia.
Now, this is the land that they lived and worked, right?
Yes.
The plantation, yes,
But
in
what
Virginia.
you have to realize is that I'm rather blunt, some folks know.
You're good.
The legislators looked around and said, oh gosh, we don't want all these black folks owning all this land. And so the laws were passed that yes, you could inherit the property, but you had to sell it, you had a certain number of days to leave it, and if you ever came back, you would be returned to slavery.
That was the law that they implemented.
That's correct.
And there are there are people that were in the Brown County settlements that because the land was not workable, they walked back to Virginia and into that position.
Wow. Well, that reminds me, someone asked last night how the folks got from Virginia to Ohio.
And they did have wagons, but it was only the very old that would be able to ride them. People that were disabled may be able to ride them for a period of time, but if they could walk, they still had to go ahead and walk. Pregnant women, depending on where they were in their pregnancy, they could ride for a period of time, but they also had to walk. So primarily, everybody had to walk to get from Virginia into Ohio again.
The photographs you had on the first slide, are those photographs of his settlement, or were they just
I'm
photographs of the child?
trying to remember, I'm pretty sure they were. Yes, I'm going fast. I'm going back to the first one. So yes, those are photographs that are from Gist Settlement here in Highland County.
About what year?
Do you
I
have an
know
idea?
the cabin on the left was Aunt Sis, Emor Turner, and Oslo Turner down Turner Lane. There were two log cabins that were identical that were down there.
So those
The one on the right-
cabins were, they were the first cabins, so they were from like 1850.
Right. And those go along with the ones that were plotted out down below in the hayfield down there.
Yeah. Oh,
And the one on the right is Peacock's old house.
So are these
That one
photographs,
is-
are these photographs in Hillsborough, at the Historical Society?
no, they don't have all of this material. They did go ahead and approach us last night and say there was a possibility of us being able to put an exhibit up in their museum. We just need to find out what we would be able to put in there.
Okay, but the question is, where are the physical photographs?
Some of them may no longer be in actual existence except digitized. Some of them were gotten out of newspaper articles. We do sometimes have people drop off pictures that the family has had them, and what better place for them to now start is to be with us. So I do have some church pictures when it was being rebuilt in the 1950s. But those pictures, I haven't seen a hard copy of them. I've seen pictures of them from newspaper articles.
And there are a few cabin pictures in newspaper articles, like Emor Turner, with her standing outside with the washing machine. But
So the only structure is the one house,
Yeah.
Paul's house, and the church, which is not.
Right, and there is another block house, that is from the 1950s, Tom's,
60s.
1960s. That is in poor shape also. It does, like other places, it has no water hookup for it. It does have electric, but, we're not sure if that's gonna be salvageable either. We're starting with Paul's.
So what's your ultimate vision? What result do you want to accomplish?
We would like to be able to see that Paul's house might be able to be restored in some way. Maybe areas where there is beams or wood that actually dates back could be covered with a plexiglass, and then drywall in all other areas, and then be able to bring these artifacts in from the program that the school kids did, and be able to display some of those, possibly put in some kind of a computer or even a book room, because I keep saving books if I find one, so we would have to start. If we start to look at that house and we cannot save the house, then we may go ahead and discuss whether or not we could take the beam out of it as a primary piece in order to put in another building that was put in. Once we finish being able to put up a couple of things where we feel as though we have a way to display the history, we would not have it open every day. It would have to be a by appointment or by a celebration day in order to let everybody in. We still would continue with the yearly reunions and inviting people out. And we also, many of us have wanted to go ahead and do some kind of a scholarship. So once we get buildings to where we can store or use them for some reason, we wouldn't need to continue to always take donations or grants because of the farming contract. We would be able to afford the daily bills.
So your income stream comes from the farming.
Yes,
How is the land titled currently?
it is titled to the Gist Settlement Rollins Turner Legacy.
Which is a 501c3 corporation?
Yes, ma'am. We do business as Gist Settlement Legacy because we find that some people felt that the Rollins Turner part was trying to pick only on those two lines. And those were Paul's lines, and that's why he put them in there. But we tried to cover everybody, including, I'm talking to people down in Brown County. We want their history, we want to be able to share. Without them, we wouldn't be here.
What part of Brown County was it? Do you know where in Brown County? Up by Island County, down by the river?
I haven't learned that yet.
Okay. We live in Brown County, so I'm kind of excited to know.
I will be on the 4th of July.
Sardinia area.
Sardinia.
Oh, Sardinia, okay.
Yes, it is near Ripley.
We have a 100-year-old woman that's still part of it.
It's the swamp, it's the former swamp, it would be east of Ripley.
We were approached this year to go ahead and put up an exhibit in Brown County at their 4th of July event. I will be down there all day on 4th of July with a setup, and by then, I will be able to show people exactly where it is. That would be an insult for me to stand in their county and not be able to.
There were two.
There were two.
Settlement and lower settlement.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
You also had one up in Erie County, and that one bombed out the first winter because most of these folks had never seen snow. And it gets set up by Lake Erie in the winter. They walked back down Brown County, walked from Lake Erie.
She said she'd be in Brown County somewhere the 4th of July. I think
That is
a nice, you know, it's, we've got so much going on here, but it would be nice if you really would love to see the display and learn more. It would be great to go.
That will be a lot of.
And you
of
told me
display
where,
stuff.
but I forget.
In the Bodley building and in their
Fairgrounds.
fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds in Georgetown.
While we have a captivated audience, can you please talk about ways that we can support you or ways that we can find more information, such as your website?
We do have a website. It is gistsettlementlegacy.com. Taylor Turner, who is Paul Turner's granddaughter, is actually, and my assistant secretary, is the one that works on that. She's out in California, but always happy to see if an email comes into the website. We have also formulated on the website and in person, that if you wanted to go ahead and make a donation. Right now, any donations that we got would either go for, and we're hoping we don't have to, legal expenses towards getting the church and the cemetery, which is very important to us, or in rebuilding the house. So we appreciate anything that people do. We are on Facebook as Gist Settlement Legacy, and we try to often go ahead and put something on there if we're doing something. We are also website, Facebook. I don't think we do Instagram yet. Uh-oh, I think I have something else to do now. Yes, ma'am?
Do you know what year the children were included to go into the Louisiana school, and they closed their school in the summer?
I'm not exactly sure, but when they said that they were supposed to be able to, they actually didn't let them. They didn't welcome them into the school, and they did stay out at Gist for a while longer, and then they did eventually go ahead, but it was not at the time when they actually awarded it.
Well, I know that Paul Turner in the fifties, in the early fifties, was one heck of a basketball player. He put Indiana on the map.
Yes. So was the boys.
So was his son then.
I rode the school bus for Carytown.
Yes.
When I was in school, and I was in the late forties.
And they were always.
And they were always included there.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know when, but they were always part of Indiana.
We know in 1950, when the church was damaged, the school was gone. We don't know when it went before that, but we know that it was not there during that time.
Do you feel that the authorities responsible for jurisdiction people cared or even helped you keep the legacy going? What was their role? Were they apathetic, distant? Did they help, past and present? Or the authorities? Because there are people who are responsible for that area, and were they doing anything to help?
Legally, I couldn't tell you, as far as in the past. I've only been active in knowing what Paul was doing, and he wasn't getting the help that he could have. But I know right now, with the trustees, when we're having a reunion, one of our directors goes ahead and calls up the trustees and says, I want the road fixed, and they're down there. And they re-leveled the road, and they went ahead and put 2 truckloads of stone down on it. At the winter time, they want to go ahead and plow it, so they're still paying attention, but that's just it. I kind of feel like they're the local gentlemen that are doing it, but as far as any kind of government thing, I don't believe anybody's watching or concerned.
I was thinking in terms of Highland County commissioners, because if it's located in Highland County, they have some responsibility.
Have not heard anything from them. I did ask the trustees if we could go ahead and get any stone or anything put down on another lane that we have there. It doesn't have any homes on it. It just doesn't have any homes. They won't do anything except for run down at one time. They won't put any stone or anything on it. So as far as getting help, we don't have any.
There's a state historical marker there. Who put that up?
That was put up in, I just saw something for that. 2005, I think, somewhere close in there. Paul and Paula were the ones to go ahead and get that set up. Paula would go ahead and do different historical things. We are nationally and state known. We've been told, but we do not have any document to tell us that we are the only existing settlement that is self-supporting in the United States. But I haven't had somebody actually.
I'm just curious, I'm not, actually, I've lived here for years, so cousins are married, but I'm trying to see how, I remember going down there to church, settlement. So how long ago was that? That's Miss Merle.
Merle was the last one.
Okay.
When she passed, they had her service, and I believe believe that's the last service that was held in there.
Working out in that church? I don't know.
I don't know either. I haven't looked at it.
There is.
Is it?
Yeah, when we went out there, so I was in the church, and he would go, but I would post a bunch of pictures.
I haven't seen the inside of it yet. Please share.
Yeah, I took it.
Oh, you've got,
In 2013,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and it cost over $2,000, came out of Cole's pocket.
3,000 now, but
Most definitely.
Yeah.
he paid for it.
Most definitely. You pay for it.
$2,500, he paid for it.
Yeah. And we, there was an application that was started for the Underground Railroad. We had a change in positions, and the application unfinished dropped into my lap. They will accept it 2 times a year. I reviewed it with their notes and decided I wanted to take more time to do it, but we should be able to qualify for the Underground Railroad also.
You have to find a reference with an actual name there. It has to be a person's name, and that is why Brown County could qualify, because a freed slave was actually named in the document. Through, a guy from Ohio State.
Siebert.
No,
Yes,
Siebert.
Siebert wrote the book on the Underground Railroad. That's right.
Yeah, there's several different documents that would make us.
Dr. something from Sardinia, Ohio, I have his letters upstairs. And we also have the information from the Brown County and the Clinton County settlements.
I guess I'm gonna come and visit you before we leave. I know, I also need, I've been trying to,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 1 to 4.
1 to 4, that's all?
Yeah, but if you need something else,
We
we'll
have,
take
we
it.
have copies of the estate settlement for David Bailey, that was the, in charge of the money for the Brown County group. And he lists everything penny by penny. I'm the guy that found that in his estate settlement. And like he would have 5 cents for postage. He would have $2 listed and tell you exactly the families that it was to go to. And we have all that information.
I would like to be able to access that. I try to collect everything that I can.
I'm glad of that.
I may not have enough time to read everything that I collect, but I'm trying to make sure that I have it so that when something comes up, we're able to.
When you come or write me, David Bailey's reconciliation statement for the gift settlement.
Somebody write that down for me. This is one piece. There was a gentleman that did a tour in the United States. This is dated for 1833 to 1834. In this particular part, it's actually 3 volumes. In this particular part, he's visiting Brown County and Highland County. He is going over conversations he had with people on the settlements, what life was really like.
Yeah, they were trying.
Abby, A-B-D-Y.
See the guy that rode on horseback?
Yes. Yeah.
Traveled all over.
He was traveling all over the place, and at this particular time, he had taken an interest in hearing what was going on with Brown County, and then he went ahead and went over to Highland County, and he had dinner in one of the houses. He listened to what the people said, and he actually recorded it. So with 3 volumes that have been transcribed, you would hope whatever he's writing is not a creative story, because he's talking about every place that he went.
Now, how can we access that? Right here. In your hands.
Okay, so, you look at what I have. I can also let you know what the book is. You guys know
The same.
the reproduction of his,
No, I just read it.
no, not this,
I don't think I have that. I just read about it.
We need a copy of
I
it
can-
upstairs.
I
If you take my card with my email address on it, send me an email, I can send you the file. If I have it printed on something like this, it means I have it as a digital file.
She can't, I'm just curious about the Brown County. Do they have a budget like
They tried to have one, but they didn't really stay together. They have a church, but they have no land. They have a couple of peace areas with cemeteries, but they don't have a way of being able to. They were able to get their deeds, and then they chose to go ahead and sell them off. Now, some people did buy multiple pieces from them, and they were part of the history. But also, when they sold the pieces, they still try to have a reunion. I was talking to Peggy Warner this evening, and they do it on the odd year, every other year, in July. And then they look for a place that they can go ahead and rent for the day, because there is no property there. She said the last one they had here.
Yes, yeah, last year.
Last year,
Yeah. Yeah.
if I remember correctly, didn't he also talk to some people in government, wondering where some of the money was?
Yeah.
She can't say this, but we can all say, we wonder what happened to some of this money. She cannot say that, but if you read and study about it, you understand.
The money was there.
Money was there, but then it wasn't there. And when he comes riding on his horseback and going into Hillsborough, he also did some sneaking around.
Yes, and part of what he found was, there was food that was being purchased for them, but it wasn't the food that was being given to them. They were being given to seconds. And this is part of what he documents, is things like that. They had been trying really hard to get a spinning wheel, I believe it was, and it took several years, but they finally got a secondhand spinning wheel. It's the very basics. It's a shame that it was supposed to be provided for, but it went through several, and things didn't all last. But we were the last property to be purchased, so as far as money being left, the other ones had quite a bit of money spent in those, so I imagine it was dwindling down. As a matter of fact, I believe there was something that was sold, and it was the last piece, and it was only about $10,000, and then that was questionable how much of that was spent actually on them.
I can say something which she can't.
Okay.
Or I might not know. Teach.
Say it.
When the money was there, it was not fully accounted for. The question becomes, when it was there and suddenly there is nothing, where did it go and you can't provide any receipts for it?
I agree with you, sister.
That's the question.
There's a record of property tax being paid on other properties that weren't actually GIST properties, but they were the trustees at that time. And I think their thinking was, well, we're growing food that we're giving to them, so we're gonna go ahead and pay our property taxes with their money. But they didn't help them to figure out those two lots, the 100 acres and the 107 acres, 207 acres that they never deeded to anybody. The first deeds were in 2015 when Paul finally won.
Wow.
And like I said, they forgot to discuss what to do with the church and the cemetery.
And ironically, when the taxes were charged against them, interest started, and interest was charged every year as it progressed. They never showed any payment of it. Never showed a payment.
Now, some people did go ahead and say that they felt that, his money that was left to family in England should have gone to these settlements also. But that money is gone also.
Oh, wow.
I have to keep my language clean, so I can't say anything about that.
Thank you.
Okay, what can we do in Clinton County to help?
You're doing a lot, because you had this event so that we would be able to have more people get to know us. This year for us has been absolutely mind-blowing that it's become contagious for people to wanna hear about us. And that means a lot. More people to want to go ahead and learn about us. We're gonna try to see if we can't set up something for a Zoom. We recorded this meeting, and we recorded the meeting last night. I was hoping to go ahead and maybe put something together, but I may have Taylor maybe better at putting something together where it's not all over the place like I do.
Yeah, tonight's talk will go on our YouTube page, the Clinton County History Center. And then I had told you earlier that we are continuing to share the Geist Facebook page as well. So you can follow us and the Gift Settlement Facebook page on the History Center's page as well. So we're
Now,
continuing
there are
to...
several GIST pages in Facebook. We are GIST Settlement Legacy.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.